to our third and final topic. What is it?
Oh, Metaverse in gaming. What does that mean?
I don't know.
Well,
Why don't you
we're
tell me
about to
about it?
discuss it and maybe find out.
Okay.
So, a Metaverse, you know, Facebook aside that whole thing that they're doing, but basically since they've become more public about their meta, um,
Meta world peace.
Microsoft and Sony have both been quoted in interviews a few months ago that weren't even really about um, anything per se. It was more in interviews about all their acquisitions that they're making, all these studios they're buying up, all these IPs that they're gathering in their arsenals. The term metaverse is coined by the people working at these companies. And to me, what that means is going more like the Marvel route, where they have all these people in this in their universe, all these different IPs. You know, you have Thor, you have Captain America, you have Iron Man, all that shit going on. Spider Man. They're all from. They normally don't interact with one another, but Disney has kind of brought them all together in that respect. I feel like, for example, Microsoft is kind of gathering a lot of IPs to do that as well, to make their own sort of universe where these characters can interact with each other on some level. I don't know at what level. I have some guesses of what it could mean. This could be like a Ready Player One situation, starting, on the ground floor. Um, but honestly, like we can get more detail here in a minute. But like, what are you thinking when they say the term metaverse when they're talking about all these acquisitions they're making?
Uh, well, I mean, like my way of how I've seen metaverse is, um, because I kind of looked into it a little bit just with the fact of what is it seems like Facebook is definitely pushing that route of this virtual reality sort of thing. So, um, and some people don't even you don't really necessarily need virtual reality for the metaverse, but it does seem like that's kind of where a lot of people are going towards. Um, and I did pick up a Quest 2 this holiday season because I was curious. I just was wanting to know what it was about. And it's definitely still very in its infancy. There's not a lot going
Oh
on
yeah.
there, but it definitely has even moved in the last couple of months since December when I started looking at it. And I mean, I don't know. I never really thought about it in that aspect of like if you own it, then I guess you own it and you could do whatever you want with it. Whereas, I mean, to like go back a little bit, with the if you wanted to use the Marvel situation, I mean, Marvel always has owned all of their characters. It's they've
Right.
and those characters have interacted with each other in the comics as much as they have well before we even considered them to be on the silver screen. So
Right.
with that into if we were to think about this in the movie aspect where a lot of people don't understand this part is Disney does own Marvel, but they don't own certain characters because of contracts that were signed decades ago when Marvel was about to literally hit the shitter. They were in the shitter. They were trying to sell off as much as they possibly can so that they could keep afloat. Like Marvel was going to flop. And Disney has kind of revived them and gave them this breath that no one ever thought they could actually do. And that wasn't necessarily just Disney's. Obviously, this is the people who came in and did stuff. You could thank Jon Favreau for helping with Iron Man. You can thank Robert Downey Jr. for playing Iron Man, to giving life to a role that no one gave two shits about. Um, and it is a lot of puzzle pieces that are not in the box that Disney doesn't have, and because of that, they've been able to strike deals with Sony, and that's why Spider-Man comes in every once in a while, but they don't own him.
Hmm.
Sony owns him,
Right.
movie rights. So with Metaverse, it I never actually considered the fact that if we look at it like that, we're Microsoft now owning uh, possibilities like how we talked in the first topic about Activision and Blizzard, and they already own Bethesda, and they already own the companies that they've bought in the last couple of years. And then you look on Sony's aspect of things, they're buying people. Nintendo owns all their characters, and then you got people that they could partner with. Microsoft being very buddy buddy with EA the last fucking millennia, I guess. It's been ever since the 2000s. Um, it's been it's an interesting way to look at things, and I guess I never really considered if Microsoft was to make their own version of this like thing. I guess I don't know what that would look like, and I don't think really anyone does, unless you have some thoughts about it,
I have an idea of how it would
because it's just not created
work
yet.
without.
So
Yeah, I have an idea of how it would work without it impeding on the games being, still their own stories.
So you're thinking,
Uh,
now let me get this straight of where you're coming from here. You're thinking eventually, because they have this stuff, you're thinking metaverse in the aspect of ownership of like the MCU, like you're thinking metaverse as that, and that like Master Chief could cross over into the Gears of War games. Is that how, I'm just curious to know if that's what you think the metaverse is.
yes and no.
Okay.
So I think the best way that it could work is instead of them going into each other's mainline games as crossovers, unless it really truly makes sense, that they would have this universal kind of space where they can all coexist, like their own. There's like a standalone experience that has all of these IPs that are a part of it, and it's its own thing, not something that where you see like you're in Gears of War 7 and Master Chief just fucking drops in out of nowhere.
Okay.
Like, oh, there's like a weird like space-time issue and now I'm in this universe, this parallel universe type shit. That would be kind of dumb.
Yeah. I do have the
Um,
definition of metaverse pulled up here if you want to hear it.
I am curious to hear
Okay.
it.
So I got two different ones. From Bing, it's a lot shorter. So here's this metaverse. Noun, computing. A virtual reality space in which users can interact with a computer generated environment and other users. And then from Wikipedia, metaverse. A metaverse is a network of 3D virtual worlds focused on social connection. In futurism, what? and science fiction, it is often described as a hypothetical iteration of the internet as a single universal virtual world that is uh factulated. I don't know what that is.
Yeah, that's more along the lines of what I was
facilitated
thinking.
by the use of virtual and augmented reality headsets. So metaverse, I guess that answers the question. Metaverse isn't you going on the computer and you're there. You actually got to be there. That is a metaverse is virtual reality. It involves virtual reality.
Well, that one definition said it
Both
has
of
to
them
involve
did.
virtuality.
Both of them
They
did.
mention it, but it's not explicitly.
A virtual reality space in which users can interact with computer generated environment and other users. And the other one says facilitated by the use of virtual and augmented reality headsets. So that is what metaverse is. And I guess the Bing one is powered by Oxford language. So there's that. So Wikipedia is
So
Wikipedia.
literally a Ready Player One experience, like
Exactly
what
what
I was saying
that
at the
is.
beginning of
Yes.
the episode.
Yes. But
Yeah. So essentially, like they would all have their own main space where they're not a part. It's not something that is in those mainline games, like a Gears of War game, like it would be its own experience. Like what I was saying, would be the best way to do it because then you're going to be sacrificing like something from each of those games if you do it that way, and it just can get messy and the quality can get really bad just by throwing random IPs into other franchises.
Yeah, I just was clarifying what like for either for my not only myself but whoever's listening as well is like I just wanted to make sure I was like what exactly you were asking, I guess. So, but
Sure.
yeah. I mean, in theory, it's not like it can't be done. Obviously, we have the VR, we have VR chat, which is semi that. There are virtual reality games that are currently running mini games within them. Uh, there's also PlayStation had a thing that was kind of like a metaverse before it was even a thing. They had this PlayStation. Is it PlayStation Home? Is that what that was called? Hold on, I gotta look this
Oh
up
no.
now. PlayStation Station Home. It was on the PS3. Yes, PlayStation Home. This is the description of this. PlayStation Home is a virtual 3D social space gaming platform developed by Sony Computer Entertainment, London studio for the PlayStation 3 and the PlayStation Network. It was accessible from the PS3's crossbar media bar. Membership was free but required a PSN account upon installation. So they had it. PlayStation had this. You created an avatar. You went
Oh
in.
well,
No, hold on.
that's not taking full advantage.
Yeah, you created an avatar. You went into social areas and talked and communicated with other players. You could do mini games. You could do all these other things. Like they had this back in 2008. And then it's like you look at Metaverse and it's literally exactly that, just in virtual reality. And that is definitely where I think gaming will eventually get to, because obviously, like we were talking about in the TV series, we constantly want to connect more with those characters, or we already are connecting with those characters. There's nothing that beats gaming in how much you can connect to a character. You can't watch a movie and do the same exact connecting. You can't read a book and do the same exact connecting. Gaming, you're that person experiencing these adventures and doing all these things. So if in a video game you can strap on some ridiculous looking piece of plastic onto your head and bounce around and slap, lightsabers around and cut blocks in half, it's a different experience. And it's definitely, maybe something that will happen in the future. And obviously, it's something that Facebook and Microsoft and all these other companies that you're mentioning are trying to incorporate more of a what if we use this for not just gaming, you know? I mean,
Well,
yeah.
I don't think it's just going to be social spaces that this is going to be used for. It's not. That would be a waste of
Yeah, but
technology.
at first, it definitely it's the easier way to go right now.
I mean,
Get the lay of the
and we already
land.
have that. Then technically, VR chat is a metaverse
Yeah,
that
like I
already
was saying,
exists.
yeah.
Same thing with Facebook. But like, what I was thinking was something more along the lines of even before it gets to VR, because Microsoft already said they have no plans to get into VR this like right now because it's not where it needs to be for that to be worth their time. They'd rather spend money somewhere else. So what I'm thinking by what they mean by metaverse is trying to start the metaverse portion without VR. And what I mean by that is having a massive like multiplayer online experience where you have all these IPs a part of it and have it be its own big experience.
Yeah, I you keep saying it, but I still have no idea what you mean by like what is that? What makes that so different? And the other thing is like the reason why
Well, what
Microsoft.
I mean, you're not making it's not just avatars
Yeah, that's what I'm
in
asking
like
you.
a
So
social
what am
space.
I doing in the? So let's say you are elevator pitching me this whole idea. Like so, okay, I
Literally
get.
literally look at Ready Player One, a massive battlefield that you can go into. That type of shit.
So like
You could do activities like that. You can pour things from other games and have it be its own massive experience. Like in Ready Player One, like I've said this a couple
I
times.
know what you keep you repeating yourself over and
Ready
over
Player
again
One is
doesn't
not.
help. Like
I don't know what you're not getting.
no,
I don't
so
I don't understand how you
so
don't understand.
no, but what I'm saying is like what I've explained in the past. What's different than what PlayStation Home was, and what is from what Meta.
PlayStation Home one was just a social space where you make your own avatar. It had nothing to do with their IPs.
You did play games in that, like you didn't play obviously the major big games, but there were games inside that the PlayStation Home and whatnot. But
Like
like
what?
there were racing, bowling, flight simulator. I don't know. There's a whole bunch of weird shit they had in there.
So
But
basically, sports but VR.
huh?
So basically, a Wii Sports but VR with a social space.
No, it wasn't VR. This was on the PS3. Like they did
Oh
this. They
God.
did all this on a network on the PS3. It died because everyone was like, "Why the hell would I be in a chat room? It's 2008. I'll just go into Call of Duty and go play there." Like, but it was designed so that you could go to these spaces and go to these like a mall or a shopping center, or like or your house. Like you had a house that you could design and like essentially play Sims and just create your whole entire room and whatever. And like it was really weird how they did it, and it did take off. They eventually closed it after a while, but like it didn't make it to the PS4. So,
Yes.
but
So I guess let me go into more detail then. Like having your own place would be cool. Like you're able to trick it out, do whatever. I feel like it would be cool to have different sections of this online experience where it's like different IPs go to kind of gather there and you do different things in these different like world like for example Disneyland where you have that space fucking place and wherever else those other I'm not a Disney guy. Whatever you're I don't know. But like it's themed differently in different areas and you're going to see different characters that are part of this metaverse in these specified areas. So like for example, you'll have like this Badlands kind of like Warzone area where you do certain things there with IPs that fit it, like Gears of War. You'll have characters from Call of Duty there. You'll have Halo there, like a bunch of shooters, a bunch of like crazy shit. Then we'll get lucky, get Solid Snake be in there. Then you'll have like um, other stuff where you're going around doing kind of more like the relaxed kind of chill stuff. How like you can appease like people part of the audience that are like really into Stardew Valley, and which isn't Microsoft, but like Super Lucky's Tale. You know, they run around and do that kind of stuff. You know, just kind of like have it parsed in different sections where everybody can have a fun time in the same experience, and you just kind of go around in different parts of the universe, and there'll be IPs that they own in the given part of the universe that you're in, and you can interact with them, get some of the weapons from their universes if you do certain things.
because the thing about Ready Player One and the Oasis is the Oasis was one game. Like it is a game.
Mhm.
So as much as like a lot of people would look at the fact of it's because the thing is the way I would relate it into our reality, and as terrible as this is going to sound, so bear with me. The Oasis is almost like Fortnite, where not in the general sense, but in the fact that it doesn't matter what it's exactly what you're saying. If I wanted to be Nathan Drake and you wanted to be Master Chief, we could do that. We could have our characters be that, and we would go and play the game and whatever. But what made the Oasis this Oasis was the fact it is one game, but on the different planets, like how you were saying, this is exactly what you're saying. So I just want to, I'm more of saying this for myself as well, is is these different types of sub games that were this planet is designated to racing, this planet is designated to, it's like also Ralph Saves the World as well, is like this planet is dedicated to like GTA, like this whole planet is all like a GTA planet, like that's what it was. And it almost gets to a point where it's like you need these elements from all these other different games. You need the technology that No Man's Sky has, with the combination of all of these license agreements that Epic has with Fortnite, and all of these like thought-provoking games that are created by the big heads of Microsoft and Nintendo and PlayStation.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, as much as this is a fever dream, I think that's all it's ever going to be. Because other than the fact that Microsoft would just have to create this, they'd have to drop Xbox. They would kill it. They would just have to say, this is no longer what we were focusing on. All of our games, just like I was saying, all of our games are now a part of, we're just going to use Oasis because that's what we know. What we're creating, the Oasis. And now, when you log into this thing, this system, this console, computer, whatever the fuck it's going to be, we're going to call it the Oasis just as this physical object. When you log into it, every game that we make is on here. So if you wanted to play Gears of War, it's on the Gears of War planet. If you wanted to play Call of Duty, it's on the Call of Duty planet. And that's it. But that would have to be the only way that they do this. Because if you keep this whole, like, they just have to kill Xbox. They just have to kill their own brand. And
Eventually,
yeah.
they're eventually, yeah, but not at first. Because like I'm saying that these would be very specific things. You don't get to play those games on the platform in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
The IPs will be there, but you're not playing the mainline games as part of this Oasis.
So you're saying more the generalized thing. So if I wanted to play, I'm not playing Call of Duty. I'm just playing a first-person shooter. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not going to be, this is Call of Duty. But the thing is if it is, if Microsoft is creating this, they're going to call it Call of Duty. They're going to be like, oh, this is Call of Duty for the Oasis. It's not the one that you're used to, but it is Call of Duty Oasis Edition or whatever. But
see, I don't. That's not what I'm thinking.
Hmm.
What I'm thinking is having it being a like for example, the battle of like Imagination Land and fucking South Park. They all have way different abilities.
I
They
never
have
got to
all
watch
their,
that
like,
episode.
Oh
they
my
they
God.
take it. It's a banned episode. They took it off the air. You can't watch it unless you watch it through like some I have never. It was not available to me. Hulu didn't have it. Netflix never had it, and I don't think I have not even seen it on Paramount. So maybe it's on HBO. I don't know.
That is fucking a crime.
I've tried. I've seen every other episode of South Park except for that one.
Well, basically, wow. So that is like the Badlands and the Oasis, where they have all sorts of different IPs in a giant battlefield, and they all fight using their own, like, unique to them, like, based off of the character that they made.
Mm-hmm.
They have their own moves, their own movement speed, all types of stuff.
Yeah.
Different abilities. Like, in Imagination Land, they had, like, Santa Claus and Jesus on the same fucking squad.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, completely different abilities and attributes. Like, not a Call of Duty experience where everybody's the same except for, like, the weapons, and maybe you have a perk that, like, a special ability. I'm talking,
well,
like,
I was just more of saying, like,
IPs kind of going at it.
Yeah, I was just saying
Not a Call of Duty experience.
No, but I was just saying, like, as an example, because that would be that would be Microsoft's first-person shooter at that point of the online multiplayer. I mean, I guess Halo is whatever it is, but you wouldn't have. I was just trying to relate it to what you were trying to say of, like, it's not going to be, this is Call of Duty. Like, this is just a planet that revolves around, it's an all FPS thing. Like, there's different maps, there's all these different things. You can go into the gun range, you can go into this thing, that thing. You'd be dressed as a Call of Duty character, you could be dressed as Marcus Phoenix, whatever. Like, this is the character and the avatar that you've created, goes to this planet, experiences all of what this genre has to be. But I don't know. It's definitely. I mean, it's a cool idea. It's just. I don't know. Like, is it feasible? Is it possible? Like, I
Not in a matter of like the decade, no,
no,
but
yeah,
eventually, yeah.
yeah. I mean,
Like,
yeah.
look at the rate of the way like technology. Fuck VR for a second. VR doesn't matter in this equation right now. But look at how rapidly technology has improved in our lifetime.
I mean, yeah. I mean, if you look at the where technology has started on a timeline, it's still in it. Like the people that have created that stuff is still alive. Like
Yes.
so they're not
And
dead
on
yet.
top of that, like it's still on like trajectory. There's like stats somewhere that some fucking I don't know who's doing it. I don't know if it's our government or who, but like technology itself is still not like slowing down in terms of like new shit coming out like at all. We're not short on tech new like inventions at all. Like whether there's stuff that we use every day or not, like we come out with new technology like yearly that hit higher and higher benchmarks when it comes to like PCs. Like it's it will happen in our lifetime. It 100% will. It would be insane to not think that. Will it come out in the next 5 years? Fuck, no, it won't. But it's better to lay that groundwork when you're not expected to come out with something right now.
Yeah.
Something like that. No one's thinking that's coming out right now. And if they did tomorrow, dude, oh my god, you know how bad it would be?
Well, the other thing is I don't think I think we're like you were saying at the beginning too, is like Microsoft is not focusing on VR, but the
Yeah.
reasoning on why they're doing that is they have no need to create a VR system because they're supported. Microsoft, ergo their PC platform, is supported with a whole bunch of other people. Like Dell makes their own stuff, HP makes their own stuff, fucking Valve makes their own stuff. So it's like the, them competing against their partners because they actually work with those companies would be dumb because you're fighting your friends, and that does not work out in the tech business. So they wouldn't do that. Now, when it comes to AR, augmented reality, which I do think is the future, that because VR
That already
VR is
exists.
cool,
Like really cool on-screen displays for like car windshields. That is fucking sick.
but it's like you have gaming developers that are already working on it. Niantic has already teased the fact that they are creating something with Pokemon Go. So Google is very much working on that. Google also has Google Glass, which kind of slipped away a little bit, but does still exist. It's
Yeah.
still around. You can still get it. And Microsoft has HoloLens, which has been around for years at this point. We thought that was coming like a year from now at the time, and it's like, no, that's still being perfected. It's also being used. Like that gets used in more industrial type stuff when they're like, I believe car manufacturing companies use HoloLens, and if there's
Yeah, I believe so.
G&E uses Microsoft and is partners with them with that. So it's like that stuff does work right now, and it is being used right now. It's not to the masses. You try going to buy a HoloLens, it's all upward to $2,000, and it's a dev kit. So it's like there's nothing really out there for it unless you're doing specific things to it. So that's the technology I believe Microsoft is really trying to aim for, and their competitor is more proper Google. Not really much Facebook. Just because they're not on the same spectrum of what they're probably looking at, just based as a third party looking in. Um, but I don't know. Where augmented reality could come into play is, I mean, it could be as simple as soon as you start getting technology as small as to just clip it onto your inside of your glasses, and boom, there you go. Or we have the official Google Glass, and we have prescription models, and we have, as soon as you start allowing people able to buy these things for $400 glasses or $300 glasses, and you're getting this technology out to people and the consumer, that's when this starts to become a real thing. And until then, obviously, the only company that has that type of stuff out to market right now is Zuckerbots and his crew. So
Zuckerbots.
it is because that is the most consumer friendly thing. As much as everyone wants to talk about, oh well, the Valve is way better, like, or Valve's thing is way better, or like this thing is way better, HTC's got a better thing. It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, your $300 goggles that you don't have to hook up to a $1,000 PC, that's selling. That's what's getting to the market. That's what people are buying, not the 30,000 people, the 100 to 200,000 people that are buying those things. And that's why Facebook's in the lead right now when it comes to something like that. And until people start realizing that that is what's happening, that's when you got to wake up as, like, not as a gamer, as the consumers run what's happening. We're going to be the first to test it. They'll be the ones that perfect it. And that's really what I have to say about that. So, but I think your idea is great. I think it could, that kind of something, if there was an Oasis that happens eventually, cool. I just hope there's no IOI. So Microsoft could be IOI. I don't know if you want them to sit in that spot. Then you'll have to fight Phil Spencer at the very end.
Oh God.
He'll probably be the one to leave
war.
He'll be the one that leaves the Easter eggs. He wouldn't be the one that causes the issue.
He fucking leaves Easter eggs in real life.
He does. Any final words? Anything you want to close out this topic with?
I just hope it's done in less than 2 decades.
So when we're 40?
47?
Yikes. That was
decades.
a rough realization right there. Well, we're almost 50. Yikes.
Yeah, I mean, you can still be in good shape when you're 50 as long as you don't let yourself go.
True. But where's life,
you don't have
really?
to exercise super regularly.
Yeah.
Just like
I'll be like my grandpa and go to the armory and play basketball with the veterans and stuff.
You just gotta make sure you don't gain a shit ton of weight.
Yeah.
Then your knees are gonna
Bust
get
out.
fucked, and you're not gonna be able to stand to play VR. You'll have to sit down like a peasant.
Hey, yeah. Once I learned how to sit down and play Wii bowling, it was over, man. Ladies and gentlemen, that is going to be Bitcade. I hope you guys enjoyed it all. If you had anything you wanted to say about any of these topics, please leave it in the comments below, wherever you're at. Please rate us 5 stars or however you do it on any of the audio platforms that you do it. The platforms we post to personally, our official stuff is iTunes and Podbean. If you listen anywhere else, I don't know how they grabbed our RSS feed, but please go show us some love somewhere on our other social medias like YouTube. Just search Primal Target. It's the same logo. That is going to be it for this episode. My name is Ryan. Joining me was Vicky. And we will see you guys in the next episode. Good night, everybody. I forgot to say it's a brand spanking new episode. Well, I said it now.
Oh, God. Oh, she's gonna cut it and put it in the beginning. God.
I remember seeing it in theaters, like it didn't feel like a Star Wars film in the very beginning. It felt a little different until it kind of got going, and then you got the kind of rhythm and the style that it had and whatnot. Especially coming off of the sequel trilogy, it has like kind of a different feel and tone than